it's Jordan and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to tell you 3 reasons why you should pick up Daughter of the Pirate King by Tricia Levenseller. So first of all, let's talk about a synopsis for this book. It follows 17-year-old Alosa, who is the daughter of the Pirate King and a captain of one of the ships in his fleet. He ends up choosing Alosa for a dangerous mission. He sends her on board an enemy pirate ship from another clan in order to find their portion of a magical map. When all the portions of the map are put together, they will ultimately lead to this island that is full of treasure beyond anyone's most wild imagination. However, while aboard the enemy pirate ship, Alosa comes in contact with the ship's first mate, who proves to be quite an obstacle on her search to finding the missing piece of the map. So, common thread in YA novels that are said to feature pirates is that they tend to lack delivery. They promise these grandiose adventures with pirates and swashbuckling action, and it ends up being just privateers, or maybe pirates aren't even included at all. Definitely something that this book did well. It delivered above and beyond what I was expecting from a book about pirates, because in the past, my experience with pirate YA novels has been pretty poor. But this one is marketed as a pirate novel, and it is a pirate novel. The entire novel takes place on a ship. It is very swashbuckling. There is a ton of action and pirate terms and gritty pirateness that you would expect to find in a novel that is said to feature pirates. It's marketed as having a main character like Jack Sparrow, however, as a 17-year-old girl, and it 100% delivered on that. There's even a quote on the dedication page from Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, which I felt was a great tribute to the franchise, which I feel like probably inspired or at least influenced the writer. With that being said though, this is not a reimagining or retelling of Pirates of the Caribbean. It felt like the author was a huge fan of that franchise and used it as inspiration to create her own story. It's a fantastical world and doesn't take place in our world like Pirates of the Caribbean, but the magic system and the map elements and the adventure and what they're doing in this book felt like it could be something that Jack Sparrow would do. It had the same atmosphere, the same tones as those movies, just in a YA novel, and I absolutely loved that. I have a very special place in my heart for the Pirates movies, and it felt like this author had that same emotional attachment to the movies as well. So now let's go ahead and get into the 3 reasons why you should pick up Daughter of the Pirate King by Tricia Levenseller. Number 1, if you love badass, kick-butt female characters that deliver on being badass, Alosa is your girl. This is a common complaint for novels like Throne of Glass, where the main character is said to be a badass but doesn't actually ever exemplify being a badass. But Alosa is a powerful, strong, don't take no crap off of nobody young lady. She is the captain of a ship in her father's fleet, and her crew consists solely of strong, powerful, cutthroat women. I was extremely impressed by the amount of girl power and strong women in this novel. Alosa makes men bow to her. To the point sometimes where I was going, damn girl. She was so ruthless. She was born a pirate, grew up as a pirate, and she is as ruthless as any male pirate, and I just really loved seeing that ruthless brutality in a main female protagonist, because it's not something that you see. You might be told it repeatedly. It's not something that's like on the page usually. So if you love strong, fierce women who put men in their place, essentially have an air of superiority over men, you will love Alosa. She is your leading lady that you've been looking for. I always say how much I love snarky, witty main characters, but usually find this from a male protagonist. Alosa is about as snarky and sarcastic as they come. Definitely has a very quick wit. She definitely has some of that humor and aloofness that Jack Sparrow has. I would argue that Alosa is much more competent and intelligent than Jack Sparrow. Like, I think Jack Sparrow just like gets lucky a lot of the time, whereas Alosa is much more calculating. Secondly, if you like hate to love relationships, you're gonna like the relationship in this book. I hesitate to even call it a romance because Alosa doesn't even view it as a romance. It could be maybe a budding romance or a budding friendship, but I would say it's more of like an alliance than it is any kind of like romantic relationship. Regardless, it is a very rocky, tumultuous relationship. Alosa and her ally, not love interest, ally, are very competitive people. They bicker constantly throughout the novel, and just when he dishes out, Alosa turns around and dishes it right back. It was like a fascinating relationship. Raiden is very unsuspecting of Alosa. He doesn't really think of her as a threat, and he really underestimates her and is often put in his place because of it. She's constantly showing him exactly how capable she is and constantly surprising him, and he comes to recognize that he is her inferior, and he is okay with that. He comes to accept that and really value what she can bring to the table, and I really liked the dynamic because he wasn't trying to dismiss her. It's really refreshing. I can't wait to see how this relationship is explored more. And the third reason I think that you would love this book is the world. Like I mentioned, this is a fantasy novel, however, there is very little world building in it. And I don't even think that's a problem. I was never confused about the world or questioning it or unsure of its like limitations and such. There was a normal mortal world happening with all of these like supernatural things happening within it, much like Pirates of the Caribbean. It's very reminiscent of the 1720s to 1750s pirate era, which is what Pirates of the Caribbean is based on. This fantastical world felt very much based on that time period. There's not even a map in this book. I found I didn't need one either. It was just the strangest thing. There was no map, there was really no world building, but I felt like I got a really clear picture of what was happening. It was a very strange thing. It could also be that I am very familiar with Pirates of the Caribbean and I understand how that world operates, and this feels so much like that I didn't find it confusing. Maybe somebody who's not as familiar with Pirates of the Caribbean might feel like they're lacking world building or lacking a map, and it's really something that they need. Therefore, if you're familiar with the style of the pirate movies and are in any way or any degree a fan of them, then I would highly recommend you checking this book out. This book delivered swashbuckling, kick-ass lady pirates, magical creatures, and everything that you would want from a book that's compared to Pirates of the Caribbean, let's be honest. I loved this world so much, and I loved these characters so much, and I can't wait to see how the rest of the series unfolds, how the characters' relationships progress, also what else Tricia Levenseller brings to this world, because I just thought she did a great job establishing it in this novel. I ended up giving Daughter of the Pirate King 5 out of 5 stars. If you guys have read this novel, I'd love to know what you thought of it in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'll talk to you very soon. Bye!